Okay, so 3 stocks I am looking at buying or adding to my portfolio, or already holding my portfolio and looking to add to in the UK stock market, the London Stock Exchange. We want a low risk, a medium dividend payer, and a higher risk trade. What are they? Well, stick around after this. Okay, so before we get into these 3 stocks, what I want you to do is grab the object to the right of you, pick it up, wave it around in the air 3 times, and then ram it as hard as you can into the screen that you're watching me on, and make sure that like button has turned blue, and then drop in the comments what object you use to turn the like button blue. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell. If you want to support the channel, Patreon links in the description. There's some cool perks there as well. And if you want to join my exclusive chat room for lifetime and you're not from Canada or the US because you are banned from using eToro, there's a link for that in the description. All you've got to do is sign up with that link, deposit, and make 1 trade, and you're good to go. So, stocks that I am looking at from the UK. Well, full disclosure, majority of my portfolio, about 55%, I think last time I checked, that's invested, is in the UK. And that is because I think the pound is cheap. I think Brexit is undervalued very, very much on the London Stock Exchange. And in generical terms, I think long term, that is on top of the growth that we should see anyway. So my low risk trade is going to be very, very, let's say, controversial, because my low risk trade is BP. BP is an oil company. I'm pretty sure you know it if you're watching this. I've done 2 videos and I'm going to link them up there. And BP is one of my favorite companies of all time. Firstly, because of their dividend, they're very, very solid on dividend. They stick to it and they pay you regularly. But more importantly, I think the oil sector is very, very undervalued. If you watch the US video, again, I'll link that up there now. Too many links up there. But my US video, I also say about Exxon, I think oil will recover and do very, very well when this pandemic is over. We've seen that Pfizer has a potential vaccine. It's a matter of time before the world reopens, travel starts coming back, and oil is used more and more and more. That said, BP also has BP Infinite, because BP also makes plastic, and then oil companies tend to be invested in plastic, but BP Infinite is actually a way of recycling unrecyclable plastics, and which I think will be a big industry as well. So technically investing in oil is helping save the environment. And in the meantime, I've got a very, very good chance of making 2 to 3 times my money while getting paid a solid dividend of around 5 to 10% a year. Sign me up, baby. BP is my low risk trade in the UK as it stands. Now, BP is in very good health as well. Their financials are quite good. And to be honest, I don't really see that much wrong with it other than the sector. So the sector's on its arse. And as Yazoo said, the only way is up. Now, before we move on to number 2, which is my medium risk and dividend stock, I just want to say this is not financial advice. You should completely look at your own financial advice and do your own due diligence before you make a trade. This is just things I am personally looking at. So don't you be following me, baby. Don't you be following me. That was a bit creepy, wasn't it? My medium risk and my dividend trade is BT, British Telecom. Now, I'm going to go and say this. BT Sports is better than Sky. And I think it's true. I think BT got on the road and Sky was dominating football. And football is one of the biggest revenues when it comes to advertising for sports. And I'm talking about soccer, not the American football, because, well, that stuff's just crazy. But when it comes to the British Premier League, BT started to compete with Sky, and then they also got the Champions League. And I think, to be honest, they've got a very, very good chance of taking that from Sky. You throw in telecom as a whole, their masts and things like that. BT Telecom is in a lot of diversification when it comes to tech and things like telecommunications, obviously. But during COVID, it got hit hard. And in fact, there was a bit of worries behind the company as well. BT is rumored to be bought out by many companies and things like that. But I think BT, given its current range, is a very, very good buy right now. And if you can get a good dollar cost average, you can definitely make some good long-term gains. It's also a very good company with very, very good health, and it has a solid dividend. So for me, BT is probably one of the safer, maybe even safer than BP. British Telecom is probably one of the safer companies in my portfolio. It's a household name. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think worst case scenario, it gets bought out, and in that case, I have to sell my shares with a 30-40% gain. Life's a nightmare, huh? Which brings me on to the crazy one, the high risk one. And I know you're all sat there thinking, watching at home, oh, it's going to be Cineworld, because in the last video on the US stocks, you talked about Cinemark. No, it's not Cineworld. It's no secret. If you want to find out about Cineworld, there's a video on my channel about it. I'll link that also up there. But Cineworld, for me, is still high risk. There's still a lot of problems around it, and it's too high risk to add in this video. This video should be about things that I feel genuinely anyone can invest in and make some good returns. Cineworld for me is still a bit of a gamble, even though I got a very, very good entry and I'm very, very happy about it. But for me, the high risk trade that I'd add to my portfolio is Bowl, B-O-W-L, Hollywood Bowl. If you don't know what Hollywood Bowl is, then you need to get out more, quite frankly. I'm not a big bowling fan, but I think everybody's been to them arcades when they were a teenager. Now, I believe Hollywood Bowl actually owns all their premises, so they've got a lot of assets as well. And during the pandemic, they were obviously hit hard because they had to close. But the key thing is they didn't really have to pay much rent. They've laid off some staff, I believe, and I think that they'll do well long term. I think Hollywood Bowl, you could easily make 2 to 3x on your money in the next 3 to 5 years, which beats the market every single time around. So I think Hollywood Bowl, although it may seem like a higher risk, and I think it's a higher risk trade just because you could be sat around for 12 months, but when that does go, I have no word of a lie. I really do think Hollywood Bowl is a solid and semi-safe investment. I just think because I'm going to be sat around in it for a while, it could take a time to actually see them returns. So that's my 3 stocks in the UK. What are your 3 favorite stocks in the UK? What are you looking at? If there's any of these companies you want me to go more in depth in, let me know in the comments. And again, please do make sure you've hit that like button. It does help me out greatly. Subscribe, turn the bell, check on the Patreon link, eTORO in the description. And I can't talk any faster than that. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace. Bye.